Walter. We were talking about Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2, and some folks have criticized the use of Genesis 2:4 as being an exception to a literal 24-hour day. They object to Moses apparently using that, but this is how they put it, okay? They say this ignores, Genesis 2:4, completely the different grammatical contexts that we have in Genesis 1, Genesis 2. So they're saying Genesis 1, Genesis 2, the context is different. There's a singular absolute noun day in Genesis 1, but a singular construct noun day in Genesis 2:4. In Genesis 2:4, yam is prefixed by beh plus yam. This is often an idiomatic expression for when. The context of yam in Genesis 2:4 is totally different from Genesis 1, where there's no preposition. And then they quote the NIV, which they think correctly translates this passage, Genesis 2:4, when the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. I don't think they knew that you were one of the folks that helped give information for the footnotes of the study Bible for the NIV, and you were one of the experts mentioned in the index in the front as contributing concerning Exodus. So I assume that you can answer this question on the grammar for NIV. What's going on? Do we have different contexts that outlaw the exception of Yom being a long period of time, namely the 6 created days? Genesis 1 is different from Genesis 2?
Well, John, I hope I don't disappoint you, but with all that build-up, I'm dying to hear what I have to say. I think, no doubt about it, the translation in the day that, or in the day, is equal to when. It can be translated either way. The point is, it's still the same yom. We've got, from all of the text in Genesis 1, we have the same kind of word, Hebrew word used. It's the identical word here. Whether it has the preposition in front of it and it's in a construct or an absolute state, that only has to do with the syntax. But that doesn't change the lexicography of the word itself. So the word stands, and furthermore, it goes on to put within the account that follows, Genesis 2:4, it has the Sabbath day. One of the 7 days is already located within it. So I think nice try, but it doesn't pull away from the point. I think the point is still there. We're still talking about same day. And we're still trying to establish how did the writer use that word day, and does it have a single meaning? That is, it must be like our 24-hour day in every case. And if that's so, why then do you have in 1:5, it's 12 hours, 1:14, it's 24, and now here he takes when the whole time. And the when here refers to at least 6 of those days. That's still the point that still has to be made here.
Because here's another objection to saying that it's not just a straight 24-hour day. The use of numbered series with the word yam in the Old Testament. They'll say that when the numbers are used in a series, 1, 2, 3, in connection with the word yam in the Old Testament, they say it always refers to 24-hour days. Therefore, the absence of any exception to this in the Old Testament is evidence that Genesis 1 must be referring to 24-hour days.
Well, John, that's a very common objection. You hear it frequently, but there is no rule in Hebrew grammar. I mean, you have to invent that rule for just this situation. The other thing is, yes, there does occur a case in which you have yom used along with a ordinal or even a cardinal number, 1. It's the same word for both the cardinal and the ordinal. Difference between cardinal and ordinals is between 1, 2, 3, 4, and first, second, third, fourth. So Zechariah 14 has a yom echad. It's a one day. It's a one day. And there it's talking again about the Yom Yahweh, the day of the Lord, which is a future day covering all of the eschatological events. So I don't think you can make that rule. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I don't think it'll work.